your execution parameters, as we touched on, and a record of all your trades. So the idea is to have a single point of reference to avoid fucking up and to identify where things have gone wrong when you inevitably do fuck up. Like, we're all human. It's going to happen. I did it. You've already done it before this course. You're going to do it after this course. Humans fuck stuff up from that every now and then, okay? But if you're a disciplined trader, and if you follow the rules as much as possible, and if you exercise proper risk management, you'll still come out ahead, because the fuck-ups we tend to talk about are the ones where you lose. But let's all be honest, we've all taken trades that we shouldn't have that have ended up winning, and probably ended up as huge winners. You know, like a common one is, most people think of a fuck-up as removing their stop loss and losing more money. But a very common one is removing your take profit and letting the trade run. I spoke with a student about this a few weeks ago, where he had entered a great trade. He basically nailed the bottom and on a scalp, and then was asking me, he wanted to basically remove his take profit and turn the scalp into a swing trade, because he'd basically nailed the bottom, and even on high time frames, it looked very likely to be the bottom. And so, of course, I said to him, yeah, that's all well and good. You probably have nailed a high time frame bottom here, but that's not your plan. Your plan was to scalp from the bottom up to whatever level and take your profit. If you do this now, it's going to set a precedent in your head, like the fat chick with the donut, you know, where it's just this one time. I'll be back to being disciplined tomorrow. There's no such thing. It's all or nothing. All right? And it's also greed. It's just basic greed. Now, he wasn't conscious of that. He was not a greedy person by any means. And it happens all the time. I do it all the time as well. You always get that desire or you know, it's easy to think ahead, where Bitcoin, you nail this most recent bottom at 39.8, all right, as we record in January, 39,800, and you nail the bottom, but it's a scalp, and you're only scalping it up to 42, and it gets to 42, and you go, well, fuck that, like, this could go back to 69, it could go to all-time high, it could go to 100, and you start dragging your position tool up, and you're saying, Jesus, this could be like a 40-hour trade. Doesn't matter. That's not your game. Your game is not that. Your game is to get in and out. You set that. Again, that's why you have rules to your system. That's why you have your risk management parameters. That's why you have your execution parameters and your time frames. All the parts of your system, they all feed in to that trade being a scalp from 39.8 to 42. Nothing more. Now, there's there's a separate concept and section that I've taught before, and I'm going to be including in Scalpers University, which is using scalping techniques to get you a better entry on your swing trade, which is totally valid. And even if you enter your trade to begin with saying, I'm starting this as a scalp, but I am fully of the opinion that I may move this to a swing if it works out as I expect. I have done that before, and I have a system which does allow for that. It's typically a very, very high conviction scalp. So let's say an extremely overextended wick, and I managed to catch an entry on the wick for a scalp, but the wick turns out to be a long wick. Like, we've been getting quite a few of these in the last few months. Like, the wick might on Bitcoin turn out to be a thousand tick, $1,000 wick. So it might go down to 43 and wick all the way down to 42 and all the way back up in one, say in a 5-minute candle. And I managed to catch 42.2 or 42.3, and then suddenly my entry is just way down on the wick. You're like, well, this is going to react higher, very, very likely. And you say that's also very likely to be a bottom. So in that type of trade, I would be entering that because I would have only entered it on the understanding that I'm taking some profit. And the reason for that is, typically my setups are an under over where I wait for it to run the lows and I wait for it to break back above in the market structure, and then I enter on the retest. Now, obviously, that the trade I just mentioned with the big long wick, that breaks all those rules because it's just one big long wick. That could be going down another 5k for all you know. So if I enter a trade there, I'm actually breaking my rules of the old system, so it's a completely new system now. And this system is, I'm basically taking a bit of a shot. Now, it's not completely blind, but I'm taking a shot on this trade and I'm entering here because I know there's a good chance that I'm going to get in on a wick. But the idea of that as well is I've taken that bit of extra risk so that as soon as it runs back up and closes and breaks above a low time frame high, I'm going to immediately take half of my trade off, and then I leave the rest as a swing. That then leaves you with a very low entry because you've taken profits. Your entry will drop even further, and then you can also let that swing trade develop. You might add the other half back on in future with some confirmation, or you might just leave it, and that's a way of doing it. But the big thing to remember with that is that was predefined. When I took that trade, I knew that was going to be the way. Okay, so there's nothing wrong with turning a scalp into a swing as long as it's predefined, but that's okay for you to do. So having this plan will seriously upgrade you as a trader, because instead of then getting frustrated by a mistake or getting on tilt and revenge trading like we all do and can happen very easily, your plan will help you to ground and reset you back into the process of trading. Okay, so you'll look at it and you say, fuck, okay, I messed that one up. But the only way to rectify that, the only way to rectify a break in your trading plan is to go straight back to your trading plan. There is no other way. You cannot chase that trade. You can't trade your way out of it, because it's not about losing or winning. It's about the fact you broke the rules. If you broke the rules, you have to just jump back in and follow the rules again. Become a process-driven operator, all right? Not an outcome-dependent passenger. You're in control of this trade. You're in control of your trading system. You're in control of your process. If you're focusing on the outcome, you're dependent on other people. You're buying and just praying, okay? You're a passenger. None of us want to be passive, do we? You don't want to be someone sitting there with other people in control. So focus on it. Focus on taking control of your trading, and you'll be infinitely better. So that's it. That's 2.1, building a trading plan. Finished. Next, we'll jump into risk management. But for now, that's us finished.